And here we are. Here we are again at the Baxter Effect podcast. Your host, John Baxter. And today's topic is just going to really hit home. I'm super excited about having this conversation with you guys, especially in this era and time, not only in America, but what's going on in just so many different things around the world. And before we start, thank you, our sponsor, Anti-Aging Bed. They're leading the way in health technology around the world. Technology that starts with grounding, goes into frequency medicine, and gets into even clinics and even hospitals. This technology was shaping the course and fabric of healthcare for the last 100 years. To take advantage of this situation, you can simply give us a call, contact us, click on the links below to find out more information, and ask for our catalog. Take advantage of the free scan. There's a 50,000 point scan that you can actually get for free that will give you the baseline understanding of your energy levels and what's true and what's really going on in your body. Excited to offer you that, and any church wellness organization, there is a plan for you. It's been explosive. People all over the world are putting this in their church. There are many days that have availability, and churches are exercising their right to have this technology in the original healing place. So let's not hold up any longer. Let's get right into it. I'm super excited today to cover this topic. Does justice really exist? And I have to say that this topic hits close to home. And the sad thing is, I can't even tell you court ordered, but I can tell you from a very different standpoint, being one of the original censored people in the world, censored for doing the right thing, censored for not doing anything, censored for giving you the truth. So does justice really exist? And that's today's topic. And we're always talking about, in this show, the invisible forces that are shaping our human potential. Now, we've changed the environment in healthcare. We understand the body not as a symptom or a disease, but as something that needs to be taken back online and our systems enhanced. We've done this. And what I would say more than anything is that I want to ask you a question. This is not a political question. This is not a religious question. It's just a human question, because beyond your politics, beyond your religion, beyond your perceived person of who you are a human. And we're going to ask you, does justice really exist? Think about it. Yeah, before we understood politics, religion, and money, every child, everyone says the words, "This is not fair." And from a legal perspective and a spiritual perspective, we're going to even break down a spiritual standpoint, because we know that the legal standpoint is not fair for most of us. And it's been fair for me in some aspects. But as we see what's going on in the world, the person that pays their taxes, the person that tries to do everything right, how come someone else can come in the country, get free everything, and not pay any taxes? Is this fair? To get free schooling, food, healthcare, room and board for free, while generationally you may have lived here and you're still paying on taxes. You're not getting a free anything. So ask yourself, where does this is not fair come from? Who taught us fairness? Why does injustice make us cringe? Does fairness make us feel safe? Does it honestly make us feel safe? Maybe justice isn't something we just learn about. Maybe it's something we were born searching for. Now, we talk about amazing topics on this podcast, mission and purpose. We dive deep into the human psyche. We dive deep into healing. You name it. We've probably driven deeper than most anyone out there. And if you want to check out my podcast, you can find them on YouTube, the full versions, not just little clips on social media. But here's the problem. We're basically searching for two completely types of justice. One that's created by man, it's called the legal system. And the other was built into life itself. And maybe we've been confusing the two our entire lives. I know I have. And was it the justice in the courtroom? And I've had justice in the courtroom quite a few times. Was it even fair justice? Was there another type of justice where if you're at home and you're the taxpayer, will there be justice for you for doing the right things along the way to perceivably help the broader mission? Or, this is another one, because there are people out there, or because med beds, there's scammers in med beds. Have you been scamming and frauding people? Is there justice from your angle? You get free everything. You get our free taxpayer dollars. Do you feel injustice? Now, let's just break down the first part, the legal justice. Legal justice was created by people. And although it started with our rights, our God-given rights, our laws always change. Our people in our governments always change. Judges who do bad, they resign. But judges always change. Politics always changes. And one of the things I have to say is one generation calls something legal. The next generation calls it wrong. And I got to say that when we talk about this, history proves this over and over again. Slavery was once legal. Segregation was once legal. Women couldn't vote at one time. And this was all legal. Were they just? Ask yourself, were they just? There's no. And we're going to go to the phone lines here and just see where people are at. If you want to comment, share, like, that would be great. And let's see what some people have to say here. Is this justice legal? We're going to see. We're going to see. Now, keep those phone lines coming. Keep the message and comments. Please like, share, comment. Law and justice are not always the same thing. Sometimes law protects justice. Sometimes it protects power. And so, justice delayed is justice denied. And you ask yourself, wow, if justice only exists inside of a courtroom, what happens when the courtroom gets it wrong? Oh yeah, you can appeal. You can appeal to to different levels, but doesn't it matter about your court case? What if your court case was going to change the entire fabric of our government? And let's go to some of the things here. Let's see here. All righty. All right. Well, good. All right. So we're going to talk about spiritual justice here. Now, let's talk about something much deeper. Almost every civilization, almost every religion, every philosophy teaches some version of the same principle. And that principle is, you would think, like just in here in America, Christianity, you reap what you sow. It's very obvious. In other religions like Buddhism, they call it karma. Hinduism, they teach the cause and effect across lifetimes. Ancient Egypt weighed into their hearts, believe it or not. That's a missing thing that we oftentimes don't even talk about in today's world. The Greeks, they spoke of nemesis. Different cultures, different words, but they all have that foundational understanding of a spiritual law. There's forces of nature. There's other types of laws. And when you see this same question brought across different religions and different spirituality, can we ever escape the consequences of our own choices? Maybe spiritual injustice or spiritual justice, I would say, either one. Maybe it's not punishment. Maybe it's consequences. And that rattles people. On one side, you have man dictating and telling you what is right and what is wrong. Outside of man, what is telling you what's right or wrong? Is it all a lie? That's what I'm asking myself. Is what you do a lie? Because the fraudsters are saying they're being unjust. They're being treated bad for stealing from American taxpayers. On the flip side, you have people that are paying their taxes, doing everything, and being in compliant with the community. They're not harming, robbing people. And is that fair? Is the legal punishment fair for the injustice that man created? Ask yourself, what is karma? Most people understand this karma as you'll get what's coming. I don't think that's the deepest meaning. Maybe karma is much simpler. Every action changes the person who performs it. Every lie changes the liar. Every act of kindness changes the person who gives it. Every habit builds character. And if you think about it, maybe karma isn't something chasing you. Maybe karma is the person that you're becoming. That really changes everything, folks. So we can't just realize that we're doomed, because I feel the doom. I feel the impending doom of the unfairness that is occurring in our country. And it has been occurring since the beginning of time. Were the laws just created to take the wealth of the innocent and give it to, per se, the victor? Is the justice so unfair that we're playing within the confines of the small medial section of the law. Yeah, they'll convict a murderer, but they've actually let murderers go. Casey Anthony. So let's talk about the health connection. This is where we break everything down. I hope you enjoy this podcast today and the connection that we're going for to break this down. Now, let's bring this into the health realm. What happens when someone lives with anger for years? Their cortisol and stress hormones rise. They're not sleeping. Their blood pressure changes. And you think about their nervous system, how it becomes hypervigilant. What happens when someone lives with bitterness? Well, insecurity, fear, it makes the relationship suffer. And guess what? Outside of the relationship, each individual purpose fades and changes. And it's important to have a great relationship because with the people that are close to you, because there's a sense that things are falling apart. There's a sense that communication doesn't matter. And whether the justice becomes externally or not, your biology is always going to examine and respond to these external forces internally. So therein lies another karma, right? Holding on to the negative consequences of anger would lead into addiction, like drinking or over drinking, and even wanting someone else to be punished or perished or have something bad happen to them. So that type of karma, wow. We never get to talk about the person that was the true victim. We victimize people in this country that aren't really true victims a lot of times. And I can say this, and I've been a product of racism myself. More so than most people that scream racism. They have no idea. And there are a lot of people that scream the racist card, and it's true. But we need to get past that portion of the victimhood card and see people as humans. Because if we keep dividing and we keep, for the health and the health of our country, if we keep doing this, this is why World War III is totally upon us. And that's why my message hits home today. Whether there's justice or whether there's not justice, we'll examine this a little bit more. And what I've had to say is that by the end of the podcast, we'll get to a final conclusion, a place to reckon. But as you can see, the greatest per se, is it the heavens? Is it the greatest courtroom? Is it the Supreme Court? Is it the Supreme Court within? Is it God's temple, or is this God's mission? But we spend so much time, and myself, thinking, don't they deserve to get caught? When will they get punished? When will the justice ever be served? This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. They're allowed to do lawfare to you, me, anyone else, if it gets in the way of their issues, even if it serves a power that's not even a human right, even if they're punishing human rights that we all know. When will they get their punishment, Jeffrey Epstein? When will you get your punishment, Jeffrey Epstein? When will the people that have those issues that were part of this, when will they get their punishment? Maybe we're asking like some of the more in-depth wrong questions, but I hope that there is a greater courtroom. And one of the courtrooms that I see that could possibly be is the courtroom in your own consciousness, because you can't dictate what goes on outside of you. You can be pulled into this ridiculous circus because every decision you have, it shapes you. Every shortcut, it honestly, it's going to affect or change you in some way. Every act of integrity will strengthen you, I believe. In every betrayal, it may weaken you, but it'll eventually strengthen you. Maybe justice begins long before any judge or legal system enters the room. Because if you put your power there, I believe you'll be doomed. And so people ask me so much all the time, like, why do I spend all my time talking about this health technology, med beds, recovery? Because suffering, it really changes people. It gets people stronger. It allows us to push through the crap, the illusion of this reality. The pain will be your best teacher, because pain and suffering will change your perception into what's true versus what's untrue. And maybe if you're affected by all this pain and suffering and lies, maybe it's serving a purpose. Because when you have so much pain, so much stress, so much suffering, you basically have to let go. And what you'll be left with is what's internal. And that's why I keep talking about healing, suffering, how I was able to get out of this. That's what I try to teach and inform people every day. I'm not just some guy that people perceive as, oh, he's a great inventor. He's a genius at this health tech, or he's helped tens of thousands of people. I'm actually the person who put this together. I'm actually the person that's going to realize and has realized the place where life can take you when you're alone, when you are suffering, and when people don't understand you, when you do have a truth that no one cares about. A healthier person becomes, honestly, more patient, more compassionate, more resilient, more capable of serving others. Health isn't just about feeling better, it's about becoming better. And I think that's what people are looking for, regardless of the outcome, regardless of this per se justice word. I know justice in a much different format. Has anyone ever went to jail for not committing being pinned on a murder that they didn't do? Has anyone that you know fought massively against federal agents and governments? Has anyone been blessed enough to win? Has anyone ever broken their neck and healed it on their own? Well, these were good learning tools to start my journey. And part of that is to not only come full circle, but to share with you this information today. But I'm going to say perhaps there's another kind of justice. One measured, but not by our courtrooms, the newspapers, not by politics, but by the person you become. Because every choice shapes you, every habit shapes you, every act of love shapes you. And when you spew hate, which it's easy to fall victim into in the clickbait that we see today, the greatest justice in life is becoming someone that suffering could not corrupt. And maybe that's the kind of justice the world needs most. The greatest courtroom you'll ever stand in isn't a government building. It's the one inside your own conscience. So that's all I have today. Thank you for another amazing day. Hope this day serves you well. And thank you so much for joining the Baxter Effect podcast. Please, once again, like, share, comment. We will get to you. Subscribe if you could. Share this podcast with people in need. And we appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for joining the podcast today. Have a good one.